Welcome everyone to another edition of Marketing the Invisible. My name is Tom Poland, beaming out to you as always from on the white sand at Little Castaways Beach in Queensland, Australia. Joined today by Nancy Juetten. Nancy, g'day, very warm welcome. Where are you based? Where are you hanging out?
Hey, Tom, I'm here from Bellingham, Washington, which is just this side of the Canadian border.
Sounds gorgeous. And that's all green trees and stuff in the background there. Sounds very nice indeed. Greetings from on the sand at Little Castaways Beach. For those of you who don't know Nancy, she's get known, get paid mentor. Get known and get paid mentor. Amazon #1 best-selling author. She guides successful service providers, probably you, to book themselves on top podcasts without hiring an expensive booking agency. Sounds like a really good plan because we know how profitable podcasts can be when they're done right. Nancy's going to help you with that. Title today, Making the Most of the Wild, Wild West of Podcast Guesting for Good and for Profit. Great title, Nancy. Let's kick off. Our 7 minutes starts now. Question number 1, who is your ideal client?
My ideal client are successful service providers who want to book themselves on the right shows without hiring an expensive booking agency.
Perfect. And that question number 2 is what's the problem you solve? So that's probably half the problem there. Is it? What else? How else would you describe the problem?
They may not be willing to make the leap to hire an agency and want to learn how to do this themselves. The problem that they have is chances are many of their speaking gigs got tabled during the COVID-19 scenario, and they found themselves with an empty calendar, invisibility, not enough reliable lead flow, and frustration about not being able to make the kind of money they want to, raising their voice and making their impact.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Question 3, we've got 6 minutes left, so lots of time. What would you say your people who become your clients, what's going on in their life or their business before they become a client? In other words, what are some of the typical symptoms that they're going to be noticing that would give them a heads up that they need to find out more about what you do?
You know you need to be podcast guesting if your lead flow is at a trickle instead of a flow. You have no speaking gigs on the calendar and no big conferences to go to because most of them have shut down. You feel locked out of the cool kids club and you're ready to do something about it.
Right.
And you are someone who may not love technology but loves to speak, and you want more opportunities to feel that joy more often.
And do a lot of your new clients tell you that they feel like they've been one of the world's best kept secrets? You know, they're really good at what they do and they see others maybe with better marketing that aren't quite as good probably. Yeah. Okay. So another sort of a clue that if that feels like you, if it sounds like you, then we're going to give you a hand with that in just a moment. Question number 4, and we've got 5 minutes left. We're really talking to an audience that are smart. They tend to be hardworking. They're progressive because they're listening to podcasts. So they're going to try things to get more visibility, to get more clients and get paid. What, in your experience, are some of the common mistakes that these folk are making prior to finding your solution?
Number 1 is they make self-serving pitches that pitch their book or pitch their thing without paying attention to what the host is interested in or their embedded audience cares about.
Ooh, big one.
Another is forgetting to tune into the podcast to make sure it's the right vibe for your tribe and the right match for your message.
All of these things you did the opposite of before this podcast, I know. You're walking the talk. What else you got?
Another is not having a message to audience match. You can't sell a Rolex watch to a migrant farm worker, so make sure you're speaking to the right people. And then I think a really important thing is if you really want to be on the big, cool shows, forgetting to practice the fine art of follow-up is one of the biggest mistakes you can make.
Right.
Because if you really want that show and you really want to be in conversation with that host, want it enough to follow up, be clever about it, and turn their head in a way that makes a difference, because it will.
Right. And I know how good, I know. So folks, I've had firsthand experience of working with Nancy. As she's a consummate professional. She thinks through. She has systems in place. So the only reason I'm saying that, Nancy, is not to stroke your ego, which I hope it does in a positive sort of way, but it's just to give people a heads up that you're walking the talk. And we're going to give them a resource to help them see even more how you're doing that, which will help them in turn. But let's go to question 5. We've got 3.5 minutes left. This is about a value before reaction. What's a top tip? One step maybe that someone could take. It's not going to complete the whole journey for them, but it might get them started off in the right direction.
Number one thing I want you to do is deal with your mindset and believe and behave as if the most important opportunity is coming to you tomorrow. And that means being ready to go to the show before you go. You need a media one sheet that summarizes who you are and positions you as someone that the host can't wait to meet. Your hot topics need to be showcased in a specific, terrific, provocative way, and how they can reach you needs to be clear and compelling. And to that end, I actually have a useful gift to help you get that mission accomplished.
Which could just be the answer to the next question, one valuable free resource. Where can people go to get that media one sheet guide?
Go to www.mediaonesheetnow.com. MediaOneSheetNow.com. Give me 15 minutes of your time. You'll have this done in 20 minutes, 20 minutes, and you'll be ready to go to the show before you go.
Fantastic. And folks, the one sheet is such an important asset for getting onto podcasts. Probably came from the speaking world originally. There's a one sheet, and it really, the idea is just a one page that gives a potential host everything, all the reasons why they should have you on their show. Nancy, that's going to be very invaluable. I know a lot of people have paid hundreds and hundreds of dollars to have one of these prepared, but you're going to give it to people in a template to show you how to do it. Question 6, we got 1 minute and 45 seconds left. Sorry, question 7. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't?
The question you should have asked that didn't is, what's the most important part of podcast guesting that has absolutely nothing to do with being on the air?
Ooh, and what is the absolute most important thing that has to do with podcast guesting but has nothing to do with on the air in less than 90 seconds?
Podcast guesting is the start of a beautiful, lasting relationship that can stand the test of time. When the microphone goes silent, if you know that you are a match for that host and vice versa, you can co-create wonderful joint venture opportunities, strategic alliances. You can make introductions for each other to cooler and even more magnificent people. And magic can happen beyond which you had no idea how good it could be. So be aware of what happens when the microphone goes silent and seize the day to create not just a one-night stand, but a lasting relationship that's ultimately satisfying for everyone indefinitely.
Great analogy. Nancy, thanks so much for your time and the rich wisdom of your advice. Folks, I hope you played this back a couple of times because there's a lot of potential to help a lot of people and make a lot of money here. Thanks again, Nancy.
My pleasure.
Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.